What's up guys, it's your favorite Kiwi coach. Give me 6 months of your time and I'll give you the best golf swing of your life. So welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new to Kiwi Golf Japan, we do a bunch of videos where we analyze PGA Tour professional golf swings, videos like this where we actually take a look at our clients' golf swings and show you some before and afters, and just a bunch of random videos about golf topics that you're probably interested in. So if you want to get better at your golf swing, you want to learn about golf more, this is the perfect channel for you, and let's go ahead and jump in. So like I said, in this particular video, we're going to be taking a look at our client, and it's going to be a before and after video. And this particular client was really struggling with some pretty crazy things happening in the backswing. So if you're interested in the backswing for golf, this is the perfect video for you. We'll go over checkpoints as well. You'll get to see some pretty crazy before and after results. So now, I promise, let's go ahead and jump in. But before we get into the video, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Kiwi Golf Japan. If you guys didn't know, YouTube does not pay the bills, so if you don't want Kiwi Coach to be broke and on the streets, then maybe you should go click that link down below after the video is done. It'll lead you to the Kiwi Platinum membership site where if you sign up, you'll really help support this channel and we can continue to make videos for yourself. Now, let's go ahead and get to the video. So like I said in the intro, this video will be a before and after of one of our clients. So you're actually looking at a client here. You'll see the before swing and the after swing, so some pretty crazy results. Main point of this video is we want it to be about the backswing with the irons. We want to talk about really correct checkpoint parameters that you should be in. So if you're wondering, should my hands be here? Yes, we're going to tell you if it should be there or maybe in another spot. We're going to draw lines, draw angles, and give you really specific checkpoints, so stay tuned for that. But before we get into that part, I do want to take some time and actually show you the before and afters first, kind of explain the differences between the two, maybe a few reasons on why we don't want to do the before swing and why the after swing is better. And then we're going to get into the checkpoints because that should lead pretty seamlessly into the checkpoints. So now, this will be the before swing, so let's go ahead and take a look here. So this is the before swing. Club head was pretty far inside. Hands start to move up towards the head. Length of swing is quite long. Hands kind of move a little bit out towards the ball, club shaft's a little steep, and then from here into the golf ball, the head really backs up and away from the golf ball. And then from here, he has a pretty high finish. If we take a look at the after swing now, we can see the club head is not anywhere near as inside as it was before. And then as we start to get towards the top of the swing, the arms are much lower, the length of the swing is much shorter, the club head is actually above the hands now. As we start to drop down and then approach the golf ball, you're going to see that the head is not backing away or going up anywhere near as much as it was before. We're staying much more level here. And then as he goes through the ball, we're seeing the exit is pretty much the same, maybe a little bit lower. But the main changes here, we're definitely on the backswing. Okay, so let's start with the takeaway, and this will be the first position we really want to talk about. So the main point here that we want to talk about is club head position, and you really can't see where the club head is positioned in the before swing, right? It kind of cuts out of the frame, but that means it's really far behind the hands. Now if you can see the after swing over here, the club head is still a little bit too far behind the hands for liking, and we're going to get into checkpoint parameters later in this video, so don't worry, but it's in a much better spot than it was before. So now the question arises, why is the club head being behind the hands so much such a big deal? And the main reason, in my opinion, is this concept of large range of motion variable. So if I actually get to this takeaway position right here and get the club head to where it is in the before swing, and then from that position 2, swing back down into the golf ball, and then keep the club head where it's at, you'll miss the ball completely, right? The club head needs to move out towards the hands and then overtake the hands to get to the golf ball. And if it's so far behind the hands right here, and then you have to swing down and hit the golf ball, it's a large range of motion, right? The club head has to move a large range to realign back into the correct spot, and then it's difficult to time and manage that every single swing, right? So the more unathletic you are, right, more amateur golfers out there, having to do such a large range of motion variable, you're probably not going to be very consistent. Even a trained professional who's very, very athletic probably would have a difficult time doing that on a consistent basis, right? That's why you don't see them doing that too often. So this would be the reason why we don't want to see the club head there, is because of that large range of motion variable. Now another noticeable difference between these two swings is going to be the overall hand height. So notice in the after swing, the hand height's kind of right around the belt buckle line, where the hand height in the the before swing was right around navel height. This just means that the upper cocking motion happened a lot earlier in the after swing than the before swing because the hand height is much lower. So the earlier I cock my wrist, the lower the hands will be at position 2, right? Because position 2 is defined by when the club shaft is parallel to the ground. So if your hands are getting too high, You probably want to cock those wrists a lot earlier, more radial deviation earlier, and you'll look a lot closer to where this player is at this particular part of the golf swing. Now, from this position 2 to the top of the swing was really where the massive change between these two swings occurred. So watch the hands in the before swing. See how they kind of just go a little bit behind, and then they, at the very top here, start to kind of move back towards the line here. So if we go actually take a look at what angle this occurred, it's going to be right around 6 degrees, which means that from this position 2 to the top of the swing, the arms are not really going behind the body enough. They're actually just going vertically up, right? Which would not be what you want to do. Now, if we take a look at the after swing over here and we take a look at where the hands are going towards the top, now we can see the angle that is created is much flatter than it was in the before swing. So he's over right around 18 degrees. So this is another important position because the higher and higher the arms get, that means the more vertical the plane of the arms is as you approach down into the golf ball, which ultimately means the entry into the golf ball the club head is traveling at is so narrow that it's really difficult to hit the ball. So hence we don't want to be in certain ranges of the lead arm height at the top of the swing like this player was before. We'd much rather be with the arm a lot flatter in the after swing because you're going to have a much more wider angle into the golf ball. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, now let's really go into the checkpoints and start to break down really primarily the hands and the club shaft, but we'll also go maybe into a few body checkpoints as well. And then if you guys want to get really all the checkpoints, you can actually go sign up for the Kiwi Platinum membership. And we actually have, I think it's like 4 hours worth of webinars that go over all the driver and iron checkpoints of the backswing and the downswing. So if you want to get this in much more detail, check out that. But let's go to takeaway first, and let's start going over hand height checkpoints and then club head position checkpoints. So at position 2, actually, the position of the hands height-wise, we want to see anywhere from kind of belt buckle range to kind of pocket range is typically where we see most pros be. So if you start to get your hands where this client was in the before swing, this is well too high, right? Way, way too high at this point in the golf swing. Now, if we take a look at club head position, we actually like to see the club head position either in line with the hands or maybe like 1 to 2 inches outside the hands or maybe 1 to 2 inches, you know, inside the hands. So that comes out to, you know, kind of right around 10-degree range variance right there. That would be the checkpoint parameters right there. So if we take a look at the after swing, in terms of hand height, we definitely are within the checkpoint parameters, right? We're going to be right on that hip line, but the club head position is still too far outside our checkpoint parameters. So if we wanted to be perfect, we'd want to be a little bit more within kind of this range right here. And if we were in that range, we'd be okay to go. Now, one of the body checkpoints I want to talk about is going to be just the overall kind of tilting motion of the shoulders from P1 to P2. This is something a lot of people talk about where they're like, you know, should I add left side lateral bend or should I lower my shoulder on the backswing? So this will kind of start to answer that question. So if we go draw a line from this point of the shoulder down to the other point of the shoulder, and then go make an angle here, we can see that on this particular swing in the after, he's right around 64 degrees. Now, if we go do the same thing on the before swing, he's going to be right around 60 degrees. So he's about 4 degrees flatter in the after swing. So is this good or is this bad? That's the question you guys all want to know. So in my personal opinion, when it comes to a 7-iron, and that's the club that this client was hitting, most good players are going to be typically anywhere from the very high 40 range all the way into kind of the low 60 range. It really heavily depends on your mobility level, but for most people, that's kind of the range. So for this particular client in the after swing, maybe he is getting just a hair on the flat side. Maybe that would be something you want to worry about, but it's not so big of a deal. So if you're asking yourself at position 2, you know, what should the shoulders do? Definitely the left shoulder should be lower than the right shoulder. That's 100% correct. And then range-wise, again, it's anywhere from that low 60 to kind of high 40 range. All right, so as we move into position 3, next thing I want to talk about is going to be kind of similar to what we did in position 2. So let's talk about hand position first. So positioning of the hands, typically for irons, you're going to see anywhere from the shoulder line, like the before swing, to right around the right pec is going to be the range. So if we take a look at the after swing, he's pretty much splitting kind of the shoulder line and the right pec, so he's pretty much right where you should be. That's kind of the checkpoint. Now, if you're wondering where you check from, it's where the glove, so the thumb in the glove, so that white glove right there, And then the other finger over here in the ungloved hand, that little kind of center point right there, you draw that straight towards the body, and that'll show you where the hands are referenced relative to the body. And that's where you want to see it on that shoulder or that pec line. You're going to be okay, good to go. Now the next checkpoint I typically talk about here is going to be from position right around here, position 3, and it's going to be the club shaft position. So right around 35 to 40 degrees is where you want the club shaft to be. The before swing, he was right around 45 degrees, so he's starting to get a little bit on the flat side. If we take a look at the after swing over here, he's right around 43 degrees, so still a little bit too flat here, but getting closer to where you'd want to be. All right, as we start to approach the top of the swing, let's go over a few checkpoints here, and then we're going to start to wrap up. So one of the first checkpoints I've talked a lot about in these videos is going to be the elbow position. All right, that's it for you guys on YouTube, but before you guys click off, let me give you some quick wrap-up points. So I hope when it comes to the backswing, you guys got some pretty proper checkpoints in this particular video. I want you guys to watch through this a few times, and then from there, pick some of the things that you see that's wrong with your golf swing, maybe 1 or 2 things for takeaway, maybe 1 or 2 things for top of swing, and then start to work on those maybe separately. And then once you kind of get those to feel like they're getting much better in a separate sense, then try to add them together, something like that. If you guys are continuing to struggle with your golf swings, well, that's when you guys should sign up for the Kiwi Coach 6-month program. We have Hiroshi-san, who's our new instructor. I want you guys to check out. There'll be a link down below to his waiting list. He has maybe a couple spots left, 2 or 1 spot left out of the 10. If you're one of the first 10 people to sign up, you actually take a lesson with him. You automatically get a free Kiwi Platinum Lifetime membership, so definitely check that out. And then also, obviously, you can win a free round lesson with myself and Hiroshi-san. So go ahead and check out the waiting list, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video.